Hello, everyone, and welcome back to
Welcome.
part two of this, where we were talking about how how we can empower women um, when it comes to
By
Viksit Bharat movement.
2047.
And we left at uh, Abina ma'am was asking the women in the group, what do you think should happen in the next 20 years so that we reach this goal? Do we have any opinions about the same by
Let me
the women in
start.
the group? Or,
Let me
yeah,
start by saying that what we need first is right to life, health, nutrition, medical intervention, and stuff like that. And we don't need to upgrade our medical facilities. That should be a primary motivation. Although, everything else comes after that. Everything else will be there, will come in our life if we are healthy, if we are alive. So healthcare, that healthcare will include food security for all and nutrition for all. So reducing maternal and perinatal mortality should continue to be a focus in order to reduce MMR and IMR rates in distant and backward areas, especially the reach and capacity of frontline workers such as ASHAs, Anganwadi workers, and the number of certified skill home birth specialists with supporting supervision should be explained, because as it is, we still have the highest IMR rates, infant mortality rates, and MMR rates, mother mortality, or women who die in childbirth. And the rates are alarming. In today's world, with this kind of developed medical intervention that is available or should be available to everyone, which is available in other parts of the world, we don't get that. And we need to have skilled, trained practitioners who will provide a hygienic, comfortable, and safe environment for women to deliver. Then after that, it will be we have to have emergency obstetric care, which is gynecological care, should be made available in all places, particularly difficult areas, isolated areas, as well as natural and environmental disasters. Because whenever there is a natural disaster, an environmental disaster, women suffer the most, because our needs are different to men. We need to have a hygienic environment. We need extra bit for our periods, for what we go through. Some women might be pregnant, some might be delivering, others will have periods. We have problems that men don't face in such disasters, and there needs to be a setup for that. There needs to be help for that. That should be available at all times. Then I have written certain points. Then, of course, there should be special healthcare these camps, and there should be preventive measures, and there are so many disorders that are kind of epidemic to women, like anemia. I'm sure that अगर हम कॉलेज में लड़कियों को टेस्ट करें, more than half will be anemic. And again, it boils down to nutrition, it boils down to information, it boils down to healthcare, and it boils down to so many other things which are emotional, probably mental. Then apart from maternal health, we need to focus on other health issues, which might be mental health, communicable and non-communicable diseases. It might be breast or cervical cancer. It might be cardiovascular diseases, HIV, AIDS, whatever it is. They should get prioritized attention. So healthcare for women should be our priority in the next 20 years. Then we have to think about the elderly women. 60% of them over the age of 60 don't get proper care. And that constitutes 8.44% of the population of the country. So geriatric care, healthcare should be paid special attention. I'm not saying that older men should not get care and attention, but again, the needs of an older woman will be different to an older man. We usually suffer from osteoporosis, we suffer from bone disease more than men. Then again, if there is a goal that comes after healthcare, that will be education. Because when we talk about women empowerment, we are talking about primarily about making a woman independent, because there can be no empowerment without education. And there can be no empowerment if we are not independent. So it all goes hand in hand. We have to be educated. We have to be independent. We have to have stable jobs. We have to have safe workplaces. We have to have um, that extra bit. And because of that, education becomes a priority. We see that, as I told you, if there is a choice, a household is provided that they have a boy and a girl and they can afford education for only one child. 90% of times the boy is going to get the education. So right to education हमारा भी उतना ही right है जितना लड़कों का है. And let me make this point that we are here right now discussing this because our right to education was not taken away from us. And we don't want that it should be taken away from any child who is born in India. And then education, to वैसे I think it's one of the, if healthcare is the prime number one, number two, तो हमेशा ही education आएगा. I don't think anything even comes before that. Yeah, maybe some acts against violence against women. Then again, it comes down to the same thing. We will be independent women only if we are provided a safe atmosphere. We will be happy women if we are provided a safe atmosphere where we are not assaulted, where we are not, we don't undergo this domestic violence. We are not hit, we are not bruised. Our mental health is taken care of. Our internal as well as external health is looked after. So in conformity with the Right to Education Act of 2009, ensuring implementation of quality elementary education across board for all children, including differently abled children and other marginalized children, should remain a priority. And obviously the girl child will come in this. Priority must be accorded to increased enrollment and retention of adolescent girls, because we see that mainly dropouts जो school में से होती हैं, they are adolescent girls. And there are a variety of reasons for that. The reason can be as basic as not having a loo, a toilet for girl students. There are so many girls who drop out of schools in rural areas. There are so many girls who drop out of school because, again, the menstruation or safety, they're not provided a safe atmosphere. There is not a washroom for girl students, a separate washroom for girl students. They might not feel comfortable using a common washroom and they drop out. So many do. And जितना ये bizarre लगता है सुनने में, उतना सच है ये. Then it should be, there should be so many things that have to be done actually, At post-primary level, it should be done through provision of gender-friendly facilities like functional girls' toilets and higher recruitment of women teachers, which we see that in our college lately, there is this trend that all the women professors were transferred, and now we have a majority of men working in the college. And somehow, I don't know, how do you feel about it? That is an issue we need to discuss, maybe.
I remember this one that we had, and again it was with the social welfare department, and 2 women were there, and the
I
conference hall
remember
was
that.
filled with, and then there were only 2 boys in the whole conference hall, and we were talking, and then they were talking about cybersecurity of women and stuff like that. And then the boys had to leave because they had a class, and then there were only girls. And this is the first thing that ma'am said. She was like, "Ab hum baat kar sakte hain," since the boys are not here.
Exactly.
And then she touched on
Does that tell you? Yeah, ab hum baat kar sakte hain. What does that tell you?
Yes.
What does it mean to you? Ab hum baat kar sakte hain. That women still need to feel uninhibited. There are still so many inhibitions. There are still so many things that you can't openly discuss with your male colleagues, with your male teachers.
I felt mainly to be there. I felt the first thing I felt was, because I was like, why did she say that? I mean, even if she was talking about sensitive issues, but the men need to know.
The men
They
need to
need to know
be
that.
sensitized. Yes, exactly.
Yes,
You know,
they
we
need to
had this,
know
do
this.
you remember we had a kind of a program on PCOD and women
Yeah.
health in the auditorium? And again, at
Mhm.
the while those doctors were winding up the program, principal ma'am asked the boys, like, now you can go. कुछ ही लड़के थे वहां पे, there were just a handful of boys there, and she said, अब लड़कों को बोलो, they can leave, so that the girls can freely ask
डॉक्टर को भी
questions.
बोला, मेल डॉक्टर को भी बोला।
अच्छा.
हाँ,
So the males were asked to leave. But I don't think that it is such privileged information that men shouldn't know anything about it. In fact, the men need to. We already know. We know everything.
Yeah.
The men need
Men
to,
The fact that
so
those,
that they can facilitate the women in their families. They
right,
can facilitate the
and
women in their lives.
those women, the ladies that spoke to us about these things when they said ab hum baat kar sakte hain, they were well educated women, and they were women that belonged to the social welfare department, whose jobs is to actually aware people, which
Sensitize the
includes, there's
men.
no
Huh.
specific, there's no
Yeah, there's no
specific
gender.
alignment.
Yes, to
Yeah.
sensitization.
And the
There is
fact
no
that
gender.
it came from them in an academic setting, it was a little, but to be
Awkward.
honest, being raised in that environment, we laughed it out. We were like, yeah, now we can talk.
Exactly.
It
And these are the
sits there.
mindsets that we need to change, right? Now, there should be continued, there should be more efforts for gender sensitization of the faculty and curriculum, content, pedagogies for an understanding of concepts of masculinity and femininity and gender stereotypes. This is very important. It doesn't matter whether we have more, really, honestly, for me, today, it doesn't matter whether we have more male teachers or female teachers in the college. What matters is how you respond, how you reciprocate, what kind of environment you were brought up in, how you respect women, what kind of understanding you have, what they go through, and what kind of understanding you have for their journey. That'll matter more. There might be a male teacher who might be more proactive than a misogynistic female teacher. And misogyny is not a burden that only men carry. Women can be worse patriarchs, worse misogynists than men. Understand that once and for all. That there might be men who are more feminists than women are. Sometimes I feel that men might cut us some slack, but we don't cut each other any slack. We are just to traumatize each other. And sometimes the men behave in a better way. And there are so many theories about that also. I don't want to get into that now. We don't have that much time. Now, so gender sensitization for a teacher is very important, irrespective of being a man or a woman. It doesn't matter whether your teacher is a man, but what matters is how he's handling his assignment. Because there is a certain degree of trust, there's a certain degree of faith that the students place in the teacher. And that faith and trust has to be maintained and respected at all times. There's no argument about that. There can't be a discussion about that. So again, what can facilitate, now suppose the woman has dropped out, what can facilitate her and what needs to be done in the next 20 years is promote distance education and online education. As I told you, technology is a tool which can be used for betterment of women in such a variety of ways. Now there's a woman who can't really, college mein beech mein chhod diya, she cannot attend college for whatever variety of reasons. How is she going to continue her education? She should be given that opportunity. As I talked about period leave, we should be given a choice and an opportunity that we want to avail the leave or we don't. It is that bad that we don't want to take a leave. It shouldn't be a problem. But if we are okay, we can manage. We shouldn't be, we shouldn't be asked to stay at home as such. Now, what was I talking about before this? Oh God, this is brain fog.
Gender
Sensitization.
Yeah, so your male teacher can be better than a female teacher. It doesn't
And
matter
where
what gender the teacher is.
in next 20 years, what needs to be done for women to
Yes,
achieve?
we need to have distance education. We need to have online education for women who cannot continue their education officially, matlab as such, enrolled in a college or a school. That needs to be taken care of. After that, what is connected with all of this is financial independence, financial education. It needs to be taken care of. We have to have, I told you, bring us to that equal footage, give us that equal ground, give us that equal launch pad where I'm launching both my children, I'm propelling them into this world on an equal footing. And after that, it's them, isn't it? But I really can't keep my daughter a few steps behind my son and expect the same results. That would be delusional. So in financial empowerment of women needs to be universalized so that women gain financial identity, have access to financial services such as credit source. Jo maine aapko bola, they should have some sort credit source. If one of you wants to begin an entrepreneurial activity, something, you have a plan, you have a startup, you will need money for that. And maybe, you don't have the avenues at that moment. So you will need some kind of that credit source जो आपको लोन मिलते हैं कम इंटरेस्ट पे मिले ताकि या जीरो इंटरेस्ट पे मिले ताकि आपको एक opportunity मिले to prove yourself. Then there should be saving schemes, there should be insurance, pension schemes, and there should be something for poor women, destitute women. We see that women are far less independent, and in their old age, they're financially more dependent on people than men are. It's the bitter truth. You will see the man has worked all his life, he has a pension, or he has saved up enough money for a pension scheme, or he has done something like that. What if he decides to not provide for the woman in later age? What's going to happen to that woman? So these things need to be thought about. And after all this is done, then comes the secondary step of giving women equal decision-making rights, equal rights in judiciary, equal rights in legislature, equal rights to create policies for women. They have to be in that position of power. They have to be propelled into that position of power so that they can help other women. Not that men don't help us. ऐसा नहीं है. Most of the policies are created by men for women. But maybe if there is more representation from women, the policies might be better shaped.
It's not
And
like this
some-
that
Mhm.
the policies are made by men for women in the language of a man. They need to be drawn in the language of a woman, by a woman. There needs to
Not
be
necessarily. I told you women can be worse patriarchs and misogynists than men. But representation is important. Why shouldn't all races, all genders have equal opportunity everywhere? I think they should. Equal representation is our right. Now, when we talk about all of this and end it, then there is a big issue of gender violence. And gender violence is something, it is almost like that weapon of war that is used against a woman for pulling her back. And हम कितना भी इसको brush करें under the carpet, हम कितना भी इसको छुपाने की कोशिश करेंगे, ये छुपेगा नहीं. And I have many statistics here, we don't have time for that, but all of us know that violence against women is so ugly. Violence against women is used, and lately I read an interview. These Nirbhaya case mein jo log the, jo jail mein the, one of them had said that it was not that we wanted to violate that woman and rape her because we wanted to have sex. It was just that she was with her boyfriend and she was enjoying herself and we wanted to punish her. Now, let that sink in for a moment. How awful is that statement? That you're not even doing it because you feel the desire to do it. You're doing it to punish the woman. And there was a study about this, and psychologically, most rapists said when they were interviewed that they usually do it to punish the women. I don't
They
know
have
what
this
kind of
idea
perverted logic
about
that is. How does that even work?
Yeah,
But that is
this-
what it
this-
is.
mentality that they have this, that they are the god, that they can just,
They can play
they
God.
have this, yeah, they can play God and they can punish
You know
any
how
human.
Continue. You know how
Men
the
walking on
character of
the
a
road.
person, a human being. Yeah. Yes, Basila.
Men can't stand women walking on the road, driving a car, riding a scooty,
And here
wearing
we,
makeup. Men can't.
and here
And not even
I
riding a scooty.
here I come to Andrew Tate. Have you people read about him lately? Do you know who he is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
What do you
so
know about
everybody
him?
knows who.
Everybody knows who he is. He's a scumbag. I have a few statements here that he said, and it's very disturbing. I'll read it out to you. There are so many disturbing statements. And he has a brother also, Tristan. And both of them together, the things that they say, and it is, a person has to understand that they're only doing it for financial benefit. But then it takes the
Right,
person to
but
understand that.
while you find those, can I just say something?
Hmm.
I don't know how these misleading ideologies and statements and unfair statements about women or just things in general, that is a man-to-man talk. It just connects so well that their character, their genuinity, I don't know what, it just takes a back seat. The men just forget that there's something like being kind to women, or they forget the fact that there are women around them. I think this man to man talk is so superior that it
Entitled.
like it can,
The term that you
yeah,
want to
it's very
use is
entitled. Right, and they feel that they have the right to talk about anything um, without considering other people's emotions, for that matter humanity in itself. For example, they may pass comments or they may make statements that are very offensive to women, but it is to them a man
On
to
this
man
note, I
talk.
will read out a few.
Yes,
So inside his world, observant investigations have revealed how this ex-kickboxer and Big Brother contestant from Luton has gone from obscurity to global internet fame in months. And he has certain statements that he has made. He says that women belong in the home. They can't drive and they're a man's property. Sounds familiar? He also thinks that rape victims must bear responsibility for their attacks and they date women aged between 18 and 19 because he can make an imprint upon them. These are statements from his videos. I gathered them from his videos. Then in another clip, he says he poses with fast cars, guns, portrays himself as a cigar-smoking playboy, talks about hitting and choking women, thrashing their belongings, and stopping them from going out. In one of the videos, and I actually quoted this, it's bang out the machete, boom in her face, and grip her by the neck. Shut up, bitch, he says in one video, acting out how he attacks a woman. He attacked a woman when she accused him of cheating. In another, he describes throwing a woman's things out of the window. And in a third, he calls an ex-girlfriend who accused him of hitting her, he calls her a dumb hoe. Then Tatesio has been described as extreme misogyny by domestic abuse charities. And, he's undergoing a case. He's out now on bail, but he was incarcerated for some time. Because,
the Romanian
he's
police,
been accused of trafficking. So these are the what statements he made or is still making and standing by them, by the way. It is not that he's not standing by his statements, he's standing by them. It's not that bad. You know what is worse? How many people are following him? How many
Kashmiri boys are
starting from
staunch
13?
supporters.
the idea that men like
fanboys. Every other boy from my class posts a status of Indra Tate saying something against women. And that boy who has a history of doing drugs and heroin and cocaine, and those
Please,
boys have the audacity.
please tell me one thing here. How does it make these boys different to the people who say that we rape women for punishing them? Isn't it the same thing? Isn't it the same kind of vein in which they talk? And the worst part is that he is making billions of pounds from this. Billions, millions. And he has billions of followers. And the way he is going viral, it is a sad state of affairs. In today's world, it is really upsetting. And then
And it strikes me.
they don't even, although his videos and his statements go against the TikTok policy, they don't ban him because it leads to their popularity as well. So yahan pe, what is a woman used as? What is she? There is an agency that is making money. There is a company that is making money. And there is a self-styled guru who's talking all these derogatory things about women. And between them, they're making money. But what happens to the woman who is here? We need
All
to
the
think about
videos he
that.
talks about women's hijab, he's in his underpants with a cigar in his hand.
Yeah.
All the videos where he talks
Yes.
about women wearing hijab.
And I find it very disturbing. Because देखो, whatever happens, ये तो blatant publicity है ना of these thoughts. And today we have one Andrew Tate and we have his brother. And how do you know in a couple of years there won't be hundreds of his followers who will try to be like him? And why in today's world do we even have to think that men still have the power, or men are given this power of abusing women? That's very concerning.
On the same note, I add something. So, Andrew Tate and all of the other people like him who are on these social media platforms and they are speaking against women and all of that stuff, they are from a completely different world from what reality is. Let's just say in India, the average Indian population, the socio-economic and the political situation that an average Indian is, Andrew Tate is far away from them, so much far away. And then on the same lines, the recent movie that has been launched, Animal. What is shown in that movie?
I knew you would come to that.
It is so much different from what the ground reality in India is. And then what happens is that there is so much less sensitization about this sensitive issue that what normal people or an average male does is they start idealizing these people, not even considering their own socio-economic, geological, whatever position that they are in right now. They think, yes, they're like, okay, they watch Andrew Tate, they get influenced by it, or in this case, they watch this
And they can
Vanga's
become
Hero.
Okay.
And
I
they're like,
haven't
yeah,
watched the
now
movie. I don't think I'm in a position to comment on that. But from the trailers that I have watched, I don't think I'll ever want to watch it. When Kabir Singh came out from the same director, I think I was one of the first people who was so disgusted and raised my voice against it. And my son actually asked me, he said, Shahid Kapoor has acted very well in this movie. Why are you cursing him so much? And then I made him sit down and I made him hear everything I had to say. By the time I finished, I had totally changed his mind. मतलब आप कैसे glamorize कर सकते हैं violence against women, of robbing a woman's voice? I mean, I have not seen a more misogynistic treatment of a woman in a movie. Although I have written a paper about it, if you have read it, how women are treated in Indian cinema. But even by those standards, this one was like too much. And maybe that has left me with this bitter aftertaste and I don't want to watch this movie. But if you people want to have a discussion about it, then I will. So tell me, give me a date and time and I'll watch it and we'll come back. Now I'll wind up because we don't have much. Yeah. It's a sequel to Kabir Singh, I believe.
8 times.
Kabir Singh on steroids, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else do we need for women in these 20 years? As we seem to be the policy makers here, we've been entrusted with this responsibility of chalking out a plan for the women. I wonder whether anyone will even hear this plan. So what we need, what more do we need? So we need, of course, we need women shelters. Usually क्या होता है that लड़की को ना मायका होता है उसका घर बाद में, ना कभी ससुराल होता है, and she has nowhere to go. And because she doesn't have a shelter, she can be abused, she can be tormented, she can be brutalized. She doesn't have to go through this if we have shelters. Shelters don't have to be only for women. Shelters can be for anyone who's homeless, जिसमें mostly औरतें ही आएंगी. Then on a different note, we need proper sanitation. जो मैंने आपको कहा, जैसे टॉयलेट्स हमें स्कूल में चाहिए लड़कियों के लिए, वैसे ही हमें sanitation, drinking water, ये सब भी चाहिए. हमें मीडिया में जेंडर इक्वालिटी चाहिए. How women are projected in the media is very important. Media will even be the movie, like we were talking about Kabir Singh and Animal, movies like that.
Yeah.
How women are projected in the media, by the media, or in the news, or movies, or whatever. You know, I generally don't watch television. I especially don't watch Pakistani serials that all people seem to love. I detest them. I have not seen, maybe I've seen them in snippets. जब कोई देख रहा होगा, I'll see a shot or two. I don't think I have ever seen a happy woman in that. They're mostly crying, fighting for their rights. There's someone wants to say something. Okay, Ayman says every other man in Kashmiri household is a chauvinist and a misogynist. I would agree to disagree with you, Ayman. Not everyone. Don't generalize. It's such a sweeping generalization, and then it scares the hell out of all of us. My son is not a misogynist. My husband is not a misogynist. My friends are not misogynists. My colleagues are not misogynists. Yes, that does not mean that all men are, good and all men are kind to women. नहीं, ऐसा भी नहीं है. But I hope you have better experiences in your life with men. I hope you have better environment in your life with men. I hope you come across men who are not chauvinists and misogynists. And then be the change that you want to see in this world. It is up to you also. How you let people treat you is up to you to a large extent. Then what else? Even in sports, we need equity. Do we have equity in sports? And it is very important. We don't. We need to work on the two. उसके लिए भी again सपोर्टिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिए. उसके लिए आपको फीमेल ट्रेनर्स चाहिए. उसके लिए कितनी लड़कियां हैं जो शायद कुछ करना चाहती हैं स्पोर्ट्स में बट ट्रेनर्स नहीं होते फीमेल. कितनी लड़कियां हैं जिनको शायद घर वाले नहीं छोड़ते बिकॉज दे डोंट वांट देम टू ट्रेन विद मेन. कितने मर्द हैं जिन्होंने ये प्रूव किया है दे आर टेरिबल ट्रेनर्स, दे आर अब्यूसिव ट्रेनर्स. Yes, like she said, like Fatma said. Apart from that, what else do we need? Social security, obviously, we talked
I
about
want
it.
you to talk about postpartum depression and the health
That will come in the
required
health.
there.
Yes, I talked about maternal health, postpartum
Maternity
depression,
leave.
blues, paternity leave,
Breastfeeding
maternity
leave.
leave. It will all come in that. But at least there was a step forward. I think in 2017 or something like that, when government employees now female employees get 2 years childcare leave for their children who are aged under 18. Like they can take it in piecemeals, like a month, sometimes, or 15 days, जब जैसी ज़रूरत पड़े to take care of their children. So that was a step forward. But I believe that childcare leave should be for both parents. Again, Acha, tell me, covertly, what do you understand? That female,
Right.
yes,
Oh my God.
females can get childcare leave. What does it tell you?
You're supposed to sit at home and take
The
care of
onus
kids.
and the burden
onus
and the
is on-
responsibility of being a parent lies
All
with
the
the woman
women.
only. Does that mean a man is not competent enough? Or does that mean a man does not need childcare leave? Sometimes the child might need the father more. What about that? Isn't it? कोई काम है जो मुझसे होगा, I allude for my children. कोई काम है जो मेरे husband से होगा. या कभी-कभी ऐसी situation होगी that I am professionally not in a space where I can take leave, but our child needs a parent. So my husband should get equal opportunity and right for childcare leave. I think that if they're giving childcare leave for 2 years, it should be distributed between the couple. If they're both government employees, it should be like, okay, my wife needs 1 month, some other time the husband might need a month. That's what I feel. It should be
I've
distributed
never heard
equally.
anyone talk about men getting parent.
Men get paternity leave, government employees, for 15 days when they have a newborn child. You can avail 15 days. So आपके fatherhood का सारा burden
It's a
15 दिन
celebratory
में
15
leave.
पूरा हो जाता है. Yes. Yes, I did see what Simriti Irani said about menstrual leave, and we discussed it in the previous video when you were not here. For that, you will have to go back to part 1 because we already discussed that here. So with that, I think I should wind up. Now, if you have something to say, I talked so much, I will listen now. Who goes first? We have a couple of minutes. Generally, give me one idea per person. In the next, okay, let's not make it a gender thing now. Now let's talk about empowerment of Indians. What change do you want to see in the next 20 years?
I would say the biggest one for me is the mindset. I feel like nothing is going to happen.
No, let's not talk about, let's not make it so generic. Give me one change, one policy that you want. Maybe
One
someone
policy.
will listen. Yes. क्या आप क्या चाहते हैं गवर्नमेंट से इंसान को, लेट्स नॉट मेक इट अ मैन और अ वुमन, इंसान को क्या मिले जिससे अगले 20 साल में विकास हो सकता है, डेवलपमेंट, विकास इज डेवलपमेंट, डेवलपमेंट हो सकता है. There will be so many things that you will need from the government. ऐसा नहीं है, we all need something. I need more leave. Come on, give me something.
I
Maybe
think it
in-
boils down to financial security, maybe at reaching a certain age, after reaching a certain age. Obviously, as a girl, my parents are not, they do not hold themselves accountable for paying me some money for starting a business venture. They would always prioritize a son, a boy, over giving
So what
money,
you're saying is
over
that
giving
you
that
want that policy should be formulated, which will kind of